one, and shoot. Everyone is excited that the month is coming to an end because it looked like April was never going to end. I'm excited because it is salary days, payday. Although, like my idolo, Chef Dami will say, it's not going to reach anything. But I mean, payday is one of the most exciting days for me as an adult in every month, and that's not the most exciting thing today. Despite it being salary day, the most exciting thing is I'm back on your screens with the top three gentlemen I have with me in the studios today to talk about sports. It's a Friday, so it means weekend. Loads of sports will be coming to our viewing pleasure, and we're here to actually break it down for you. My name is Euphoria, and this is the Gliders. If you're first time watching the show, we are here to always bring to you sports at its best, and of course, we're going to tell you about things that happen during the week, and we're going to break all of that down for you, and you're going to get some of the most insane takes on your screens every episode of the show. So yes, stick with me on the show from now till the end, and I have something special for you at the end of the show because we hit the streets of England to ask fans about how they feel about their clubs, and some people were talking about some in the words of former Burnley manager, he will say utter woke nonsense, but to us here will say igbalodi radarada. And I mean, you get to understand what I mean. So stick around to the end of the show. And if you've not subscribed, your first time here, please subscribe, follow us on all our social media platforms. And of course, I always say it here, please turn on your notifications so that when the next episode is out, you're not going to miss 1 minute of it. So yeah, welcome once again. And with that, without further much ado, let me welcome the three gentlemen with me in the studios. How much percentage am I getting from your tithes, Timothy? I mean, salary day, so please, how much am I getting?
How much you want?
As Queen Mother, I won't do too much. 15%. God can take 10, I'll take 15.
How much is money?
Queen Mother.
Why do you want to do more than God now? Like
God does.
God is benevolent. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I like the honesty.
I don't used to lie.
I'll see what I can do. Don't worry. I'll see what I can do.
You know your money will pass through me.
Wow.
I wanted you to do it yourself, but now they are saying you
I said I'll see what I can do from the 15% rate that you have announced. So
Okay.
You can meet in the middle.
yeah, we can. 7.2.
You will know those that went to school and those that liked maths. I'm not there. I just know that his money is passing through me. So maybe if you guys can beg me in the comment section, I'll not do anything to him. But I also have Emmanuel. Emmanuel looking gentle, looking cool as usual. How you doing?
Oh, good to be here, back on the
How
Gliders.
are you looking so calm when you watch wrestling, please?
Talking about wrestling, I was going through some of the comments on the editions we've put out so far.
Yeah.
Somebody commented, thank you, Emmanuel Sebastian, for taking us back to our childhood days of watching wrestling.
That was after
I felt good. At least I was able to, don't look at me that way. At least I was able to do something for somebody, taking him back memory
I mean, it
lane.
was for all of us because I mean, all of us were relating to
Yeah,
certain
absolutely.
names that you're mentioning on the show that particular day, even though we don't follow it as much as you do right now.
Yeah, so it was really good for me.
Yeah, you reminded us basically of the first movies that we watched.
Yeah. I
This
saw it.
guy, I saw it too. Another comment that got me was, I'm surprised that there are few Napoli fans who still want Osimhen to stay. I saw a comment from someone who's that person doesn't look like a Nigerian from the name I saw. So
Okay.
it was like we were saying rubbish about Osimhen. Napoli has the final say that he's still a Napoli player, this and that. I'm like, oh really? Okay, there's a fan who still wants him to be a Napoli, but it's not in our hands. So he's looking likely. He's more out than in. Yeah, I'll put it that way.
More out than in, the man that always make his return every weekend, that doesn't start from the bench every weekend, is back on the show. Felix, how you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. Good day to everyone. And nice to be here once again.
Nice to have you on the show. I mean, lots to talk about, but mostly we're going to usually love to start from home, and because there's something, if you're watching the show, there's something Timothy said in our last edition, and it's going to play out this weekend, and that is in the NPFL, because at the end of this week, or at the start of next week, which is on Sunday, we're going to know if Remo Stars will be champion or they will have to wait another week. Now, Timothy said we should drag him if it doesn't happen this weekend. So I'm just reminding you in case you've forgotten.
Why do you remember that?
Yes, now how would I remember? It is very important I remember certain things like that because I told you I'm not benevolent. So yeah, there are certain things I'm going to point out to the viewers to actually come back to you on. So let's start from the NPFL. We have blockbuster games. Of course, the one that I want to talk about most likely is going to be the one I want to talk about is going to be that game in Ikenne, Remo Stars versus Niger Tornadoes. Now I want us to look at the fact that Niger Tornadoes are one of the teams who travel well, and they are going to Ikenne. Remo Stars dropped points at home the last edition of the show. Timothy, do you think that I know you already said Remo Stars will win, but I mean, look at it from this angle. Do you think that Niger Tornadoes might be the one to actually halt that party, at least by one match day in Ikenne this weekend?
Of course, for Niger Tornadoes, it's not even about maybe wanting to soften their pedal. It's the case of yourself, you are not safe from relegation, and there are still 4 match days to go. So they'll come all guns blazing. They've gone on the road, like you did say, pick good points on the road, and they've won a few games, they've drawn a few games. On the rankings, I think they're in the top 5 of teams that have gone away to win and pick points on the road this season. So it's not going to be so easy for Remo Stars. But of course, for Remo Stars, if you know that winning the game and Kano Pillars winning against Rivers United will give you your win, and they are playing in front of your own fans. Many fans are already anticipating. I was on his Twitter space on Monday, and one of the fans was saying if someone comes to Ikenne, he's going to host him and all of those things. So you expect that even the fans already know that when we come on Sunday, we want to party. Yeah. So even though they are not going to get their trophy officially, but still you want to be in that mood of, oh yeah, we finally won our title, we finally won our trophy. So the players and the coaches, they themselves, they know that it's time to actually put in the work. And for Remo Stars, dropping points just against Katsina United and Rivers United, it really does not damage a lot. So I expect that they should win when they play Niger Tornadoes. So I don't see Niger Tornadoes coming to hunt or coming to pull down what Remo Stars would want to. The party that Remo Stars would likely want to have on Sunday. But because I say likely because it's dependent on what plays out between Kano Pillars and Rivers United. So, but I think, like I did say, Remo Stars will be champions on Sunday. Standing on my word, come and drag me if it does not happen.
Yeah, and they need a response from that game as well. I mean, we all know the result last time out at home against Katsina United. But like you talked about, Niger Tornadoes are one of the best travel teams this season. They began the season with back-to-back away wins in Ilori and in Jos. 2-1 in those 2 games.
Similar to Remo Stars.
Similar to Remo Stars as well. So they've also picked up wins in Lobby Stars in Enugu as well. These are venues where, apart from Lobby Stars, we all know that the whipping boys, they are the whipping boys of the season. But Niger Tornadoes, away from home, they are one of the best teams in the league, and they got one over Remo Stars in the first leg. So a lot is at stake in that game. So Remo Stars will want to make sure they come out to give their fans something to cheer, and hopefully it's party time at the end of that game.
For drama's sake, I would have loved Rivers United to win and maybe Remo Stars drop points so that we'll continue to have this
proper running. Yeah.
But Remo Stars don't act WrestleMania, so
they win
it this weekend.
True. Just Katsina United and Rivers United have picked up points in Ikenne. It's been wins after wins after wins. Just those 2 draws that has been their dent in their home record this season. So, on paper, Remo Stars look like a favorite to win it, but hopefully they at WrestleMania.
In the season film that's going on in the running, because I tweeted something during the period wanted to start the first 12 games, the last final 12 games of the season. I mentioned the fact that it is going to be the period where we are going to see the usual season film in the NPFL, because the final 12 games are usually a do or die affair. So yes, while the NPFL is going to continue, Remo Stars would want to clock everything, at least win the title. Maybe they can continue to look for other records that they want to break after winning the title, and they won't want to be like Arsenal, who are very consistent in finishing second. Remember, Remo Stars finished second last 2 seasons, and last season they finished second. So this time around they'll be looking to actually finish first, and of course get their maiden title, like the guys have mentioned. Still talking about teams that will be looking for continental football, let's talk about the Oriental Derby. So while Rangers might be out of it in terms of the league, they are still in it in the FA Cup. But that particular game, Emba are still going. I mean, it's never say never until the final whistle of the final day every season for Eimba. That's how they are. You never rule them out until the season is over. So going into this particular game, Rangers International versus Eimba is going to be at the Cathedral that is in Enugu. The last time we saw this game, it was one for the books. We saw it in terms of the pull out of crowds, or we also saw it in terms of the result on the pitch. We also saw it in terms of the drama that happened afterwards, after the game. All of that. I think you were in Enugu that particular day. Were you in Enugu that day? So I think you're the one that will give us a picture, or paint a picture for us of what we expected to see on Sunday at the Cathedral.
It's going to be a massive game. Sadly, I would say there's been no much social media hype like it was in the build-up to the last season's encounter.
Maybe because Rangers were looking to be winners, and Eimba were also going to also win that
exactly.
season.
So maybe that has dampened the hype a little bit, but it's still a big game always when it comes to top-flight football in Nigeria. And I mean, so much is at stake for these two sides. 11 points on the log, just 4 points below the continental spot. So I mean, they're just separated by goal difference. Rangers getting the superior against Eimba in terms of goal difference. But it's a big game at the end of the day. Rangers International, they've won just one Oriental Derby. It's the final Oriental Derby of the season, this fixture. So they've won just one all season against Abia Warriors at the Cathedral. And this is a game they would definitely want to win against Eimba. They played 0-0 in Aba in the first leg. So I'm looking at how they lost to Heartland in that previous Oriental Derby.
I think two match days ago.
Yeah, so and you always want to bounce back. And I mean, what better team to do that than your Oriental rivals in Eimba International? So it's a big game anytime, any day. The title is not on the line this time, but bragging rights is always continental place, like I talked about. So bragging rights always on the card in this fixture. So Eimba yet to lose an Oriental Derby this season. Always a favourite on paper heading into these derby games, be it at home or away. But at the end of the day, Rangers need to fight. They need to respond. Both teams still got a shot at the continent. So it's a big game, biggest game of the weekend. Hopefully, it lives up to the expectations and lives up to every billing that it can bring.
Okay, before we leave the topic of the NPFL, so talking about the continental sports and said continental football is on the line. One team is currently sitting on the continental spots. And from what I've been seeing from people who work at the club, I'm seeing things like it is PO possible, which means it is possible. I'm talking about Ikorodu City. They are traveling. They were on the road during the last match day. That's back-to-back away games for them. They picked up points in Maiduguri, and this time around they are headed to Uyo. It's also going to be on Sunday. Akwa United, who are fighting for their lives, and Ikorodu City, who are fighting to actually finish this season on a high, being their debut season. They will want to make it one that counts, and they are currently seated third in the continental spot right now. I'm going to come to Felix on this one. Do you think Ikorodu City would actually give it a final push to finish third and get to go to the continent, or do you think that like other teams that attempted it, we saw it in Doma United. We saw Doma United actually push for it towards the end of the season, but at final games of the season, they fell by the wayside. Do you think that that's what's going to also happen to Ikorodu City?
First of all, whatever happens to Ikorodu City till the end of the season from here on, it would have been a great season for them. And talking about the game against Akwa United, that they are going to the National Stadium of Nigeria, where everybody goes there feeling like we are going to play for the national team, and they get points out of it. I don't think it is impossible for Ikorodu City to go there, that's the Gospel Akpabio Stadium, and get a point or even three. And if they manage to squeeze out maximum point or even 1 point from that game, I think that would be the point that would seal their continental place, because I don't see them losing.
When they come back to Lagos.
Come back home, and I see them maybe picking maximum point for the 2 home games that they have to play. So it would be a very great one for Ikorodu City to come into the NPFL in their first season and get a continental spot. I don't know how it would affect them going into next season. It's usually not a good sign for many young teams when they come in and they grow so fast like that. The expectations go so high.
They might lose some key players.
Yeah, they lose some key players, and they would be also able to keep some key players because of the continental places that they would get. So I look forward to seeing what happens in that game. But Akwa United are in a deep mess, and they will give it all they have. They would want to fight, because the fight for relegation is still on. Aside Lobby Stars, everybody else still in the battle to keep themselves up in the NPFL next season. So it's going to be a difficult game, but Ikorodu City can get something out of that one.
Yeah, yeah.
I
going to
think for what Felix was saying, I think the Ikorodu City project is an interesting one. If you look at the team, aside the senior team, you follow the academy and you see that there's a way they are building the team that even if they lose players, they can promote players
They're
from
in the NLO.
Yeah, they play in the NLO, and I think
they
they
don't
won,
just said and they won their
they,
first.
they
I
won
think
their
by
first
6
game.
goals.
Yeah, they won their first game. So looking at how the club is set up right now, it looks like the club, they're ready to stay for as long as possible in the Nigerian Premier Football League because they know that okay, there's a case of losing players to international whatever and all. So if you lose players and you groom the ones from the younger like the way Remo Stars does, Remo Stars have promoted a couple of players from the academy to their senior team, and that's why you see them competing at the highest level season in season out. So I think for Ikorodu City FC, if they can keep themselves. If they can push into the continent, even if they lose players, I think that they can promote players from the academy and they'll still keep running the club as best as they should.
Okay, looking at that particular
Sorry,
structure.
just before you go, to keep our viewers updated, the games on TV, just 2 games on TV this weekend. Remo Stars against Niger Tornadoes. So you can watch 4. That game. No, the game in Kano was supposed to be on TV, but the crew was stranded at the airport due to the strike. I think the Nimet strike recently, so they couldn't fly. So all flight was grounded, so that game won't be on TV anymore. So Kano Pillars Rivers United.
I think the streaming partners are going to stream from.
Yeah, I'm just talking about
TV.
Yeah,
TV. That's terrestrial TV, not streaming.
Thank you for the clarity.
Terrestrial TV, cable TV.
That's the
Okay,
word.
of course. Those are the games to look forward to. Don't worry, he has information, so you can trust him with that. Moving away from football, let's dive a little bit into basketball, not the NBA playoffs. We did a lot of that for you in our previous edition. So if you want to get expert opinion on what is going to happen or what should be happening in the playoffs as it's ongoing, of course, teams like Celtics are 2-0 up, teams Lakers are bounced back, now tied the game. Teams like the Houston Rockets have tied that with the Warriors. But all of that, and of course, the prediction of the guys on who to win the NBA playoffs are all in our previous edition, the last edition before this particular one. So you can catch all of that. And of course, we had an expert from the NBA over there in Texas talking about Ayo, who gave us everything you need to know about the NBA playoffs. So all of that is packed in the edition. So you can go back to the previous edition and get all of that info. But this time around on basketball, we're talking about the defending champions of the Afro basket women. That is the D Tigress. Yes, they're in the news. Why? Because the draws for the Afrobasket women that is going to be happening this year from the 26th of July to the 3rd of August is out, and the defending champions Nigeria, the D Tigers like we like to call them, have been grouped in Group D alongside Mozambique and Rwanda. Group A have Cote d'Ivoire, Angola, Egypt. Group B have Mali, Cameroon, South Sudan, Senegal, Uganda, and Guinea. And in Group C, already mentioned that we are in Group D and we have Nigeria, Mozambique, and Rwanda. A lot of people are tipping the girls to finish as group leaders in that particular group. But apart from the fact that they are defending champions, some of the names that you'll be looking out to see are names like the MVP of the last one that was played, that Nigeria won, is Amy Okonkwo. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of that. I want to ask the guys, especially Felix, what he thinks, seeing that the coach of the side who led the girls to win that particular championship the last time out now has employment with the Chicago Sky in the WNBA. She's now an assistant coach there. Do you think this is going to affect the preparation for the girls, or do you think that the girls are professionals, will find the synergy since they are still the same crop of girls who most likely will be gathered when it's time? Do you think moving for Coach Renner is going to actually affect operations for the next one to defend her title at the Afrobasket?
I want to believe that when she was negotiating her contract with Chicago Sky, she factored in the Afrobasket in there and the chance for them to let her go take care of the Nigerian national team. Because this is going to be an historic event for Nigeria. We are chasing a 5-peat. We've done 4, the same as Senegal, who are like the kings of both male and female basketball in Africa. And our girls, nobody has ever done 5. That is something that if we do, it will be in the record books forever. And I would not want anything to scupper our plans going into that tournament. So I believe in her contracts with both the Nigeria Basketball Federation and Chicago Sky, I think there would have been that agreement that when it comes around, maybe 1 month to preparation, or say 3 weeks, 2 weeks at the very least. They will allow her go so that she can prepare the team. My biggest fear is if we are not going to see what has always happened with the girls in previous times. They don't give the team enough support like they should for a team that has won. And is this belief, is the same thing that happens with the Falcons.
Yeah.
We just believe that because we have done it 4 times, we don't need heavy preparations.
Just relying on names.
Just rely on name, the skills, and every talent that the girls have, and we just go there and do the job. Senegal will be coming strong this time around.
And Senegal are being coached by our former coach,
Yeah.
Oti Hugli, who is one of the coaches who actually got us some of those championships that
He
you
knows the
mentioned.
teams,
So he knows the girls, he knows
the girls in and out. So we need to prepare. Preparation will be very key in this particular tournament. Senegal, like I said, they've done 4 pits like us, so they would not want us to do
go
5 before them.
of them
So
in this
we
one.
need to be very, very prepared and ready for that one.
Okay, looking forward to the preparation of the girls, saying that they are the best African teams who have played in an Olympic tournament. They finished 7th in the rankings at the last Olympics. Remember the D Tigress with that particular run they had at the last Olympics. Of course, going forward, we're going to ensure that we bring to you the updates from camp when camp is open, and of course when the final roster is out, because of course we're going to have them in camp, and then they're going to have a final roster. All of that will be brought to you on the show. So like I said, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification button, so when every new show is out, you will get it first hand. Moving away from that, let's bounce back to a team that became complacent. And this is because of one person in the studio. I'm bringing back this stuff because of one person in the studio. Talking about the game that happened midweek. That will take us to what is happening over the weekend when it concerns league football across the globe. He's already scratching his body. Well, we had the Milan derby at the Super Italia and the Coppa Italia. That's on Wednesday, the second leg of the semi-finals, and it went into that coming into that game. It was 1-1 on aggregate. But at the end of the day, it ended 4-1 in favor of AC Milan, which automatically meant that there's not like a treble, like we've been discussing the last 3 weeks on the show for Inter Milan, which Timothy is the one that is going to come under fire here.
That has been fronting.
Yes, he has been fronting. No, well, he didn't actually front a treble. He fronted that they'll win the Champions League and the league. Okay. Now, the league that we're talking about, they are currently tied. We even had the whole conversation of if they finish at the same number of points as Napoli, if they're going to have to do a playoffs and all of that in the last edition. This is why I said you should watch the last edition. It is so packed, and a lot of things that will still unfold till the end of the season has been discussed in the episode. So coming to you, Timothy, what happened to your team on Wednesday? What was the whole, and what was about the drama we saw on the touchline where Inzaghi was actually pointing and saying that I don't know, he doesn't want the number of minutes that was added added time. What was all of that? Was it coming from a place of someone who is frustrated, having lost heavily like that to your rivals, your city rivals, your stadium? I like to call them stadium rivals because they share the same stadium. So yes, what was all of that from Inzaghi that day? Yeah,
firstly, if you know Inzaghi very well, he's a man that is always reactionary on the touchline. He's been given a couple of yellow cards this season. He's even been sent off in about 2 games this season. So someone that likes to, many times he comes out of his technical area. Most times I even say, looks like he has forgotten that he's no longer a player and he wants to just go into the pitch and play. So I think it's just about the emotions and all that. But coming to the game again itself, like I did say on the last episode, that if there's any threats to Inter's treble, I think it was AC Milan, and it did happen because if you play a team, of course, we know that AC Milan are a bigger team in terms of whatever they've won ahead of Inter Milan. But in recent years, you know that Inter Milan have been on the uprise and they've been better than AC Milan. But this season, if you play a team 4 times before the last game they played on Wednesday, and you find it hard to win, you play against the former coach, another coach comes up and he still wins. I already kind of anticipated that it was going to happen. And although maybe I did not predict that it was going to be 3-0, because I thought that, okay, Inter were going to give a very good fight, but it did not happen that way, and they lost heavily to AC Milan. But I think from here, what they need to do is to bounce back the Coppa Italia is out. Now they're in the semi-final of the Champions League. They just need to win their remaining games in the league to ensure that they don't fall off a point where they get to not because if they win their remaining games, and maybe Napoli also win their remaining games, but most likely we know that it's in their hands to actually do it. So win the remaining games of the league, and in the Champions League, like I've always said, I think it's going to be a different ball game. This is not AC Milan. If it was AC Milan that they were playing in the semi-final of the Champions League, then I'll be scared again and like, oh, okay. And their Champions League, the Champions League prediction I made would not come to pass. But it's Barcelona. Barcelona would not. I don't think that Barcelona would be that threat to Inter Milan in the Champions League.
Wow.
But they need to do something. They need to bounce back quickly, and they have to do that against Roma when they play in the match day 34 of the Serie A. So I think that Inter would bounce back. Just losing, they lost to Bologna. You would have not expected them to lose back-to-back games, but it's still one of those things in football. And if you are playing against the Milan side that have been your kryptonite this season, then you do not have a choice. It's just for AC Milan are not the best side in the league this season. They are ninth on the log. This is the avenue for them to get into the Europa League. They are not even chasing Champions League at this point. They are chasing the Europa League so that they can play in Europe. So you just know that it's one of those things, and it's one of those seasons where no matter what you do, you cannot beat this team. No matter what you try, no matter the tactical input you give, you cannot win against this team. So I think that's what's happened. AC Milan, if they play, someone made a tweet earlier this season that earlier in the week that even AC Milan were to win the Serie A this season, they would have to play Inter all throughout the whole match. So it just shows you that no matter what Inter does this season against AC Milan, then AC Milan would edge them.
Always have an answer for that one. Talking about what he said when he was saying the last couple of lines in his analysis, where he said, no matter what they do, that leads me to my next question, and I want to hear from the guys, and also you watching at home. I want to also hear from you in the comments. Vincent Company is at the verge of taking Bayern Munich back to winning the Bundesliga, but I mean crashed out of the Champions League, and I don't think Bayern have been in the semi-finals in a while of the Champions League in a while. I think the last time they were in the semi-finals was.
They were in the semi-final last season.
Okay, they were in the semi-final last season. They edged out Arsenal.
Real Madrid
Edged them. Okay, so that particular one with him not getting to the semi-finals this season, although he's going on to win, he's most likely going to win the league. I don't see anyone taking it off his hands at this point. Do you think that he'll be able to retain his job as manager of Munich next season, or do you think that okay, fine, he wins the league and then the Bayern hierarchy, seeing that a lot of their key players or names that we've known them with in the last decade have all said they'll be leaving at the end of the season. Müller, a lot of them announced retirements this season from football. So most of what they'll be doing now is a rebuilding. I'm sure that they'll also let certain players who are not giving as much as they expect them to give. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they want to keep a player like Lorisani next season. If anybody bids for him, I think they'll want to let him go because he has not really been at that top level as he is also. Yeah. So do you think that they'll retain him, or do you think that they'll do a shocking move to like let him go and get someone else who would be? I think a lot of people decided that he was not a big team manager when he got the job. They just felt like it was a miracle. What God cannot do does not exist was what happened when he got the job. Do you think that they would actually put all they have behind him against next season, or do you think that at the end of the season they'll just say, okay, well, thank you very much for winning the trophy, but I think the experiment is done and dusted? I'll start from Emmanuel.
For me, I'll be surprised if Bayern let go of Vincent Kompany. I mean, you talked about him not being a big team manager, but he's played under the best manager in the world, Pep Guardiola. So he's
the best manager in the world.
Yeah,
okay.
For me, he is.
Okay.
He's the best manager in the world. No, I don't know if the guys had other opinions, but you know, when you play under a manager like Pep Guardiola, you won the title under him. You were the leader of the side. I mean, we've seen what coaches or assistant coaches or who are associated with Guardiola. We'll see one day what they've went on to do at whatever clubs they find themselves. Maybe not to the lofty heights at the early stages of their career, but it showed that they've got potential. And Vincent Kompany has showed that. Yes, we know it's Bayern Munich. Yeah, he's going to win the title with them. leapfrogging Bayer Leverkusen, who won it in unprecedented fashion last season. So in your first season, he signed a 3-year deal. So it would be surprising if they let go of Vincent Kompany. I mean, you are giving them a trophy. Yes, we know winning the Bundesliga, it's like Indomie for Bayern Munich. You know, they win it every time. You know what I say? When I say it's like Indomie, so you know they win it every time. But for Vincent Kompany, a young manager who was coming from a Burnley side, from the second tier of English football straight to the top tier in Germany, I think for a first season, he's done well. If you ask me, he's done decent. So winning the title back with Bayern Munich, but maybe not getting as far as they would want in the Champions League. So I'll be shocked if they let go. So for me, I think it's going to continue. And for every rebuilding they would want to do, I think he's the right person to do it. I mean, the squad is young enough. We've not got so many egos in the squad, you know.
As I said, those egos or those
you
people
know,
they are moving.
Even with the fact that even if they move or not, he's handled the squad, you know, really well. You know, before, I think it was when Nagelsmann was there, he had issues with some of the players and all that. There were so many conflicts and disagreements, you know, Sané, Mane stuff and all that. But, you know, it seems Vincent Kompany has, you know, steadied the ship a bit in terms of, you know, those players in the dressing room and in the squad. Yeah. You know, the man management has really worked for him. And like I said, he's bringing his experience, not much of his coaching experience because he's been young in the coaching spectrum, but, you know, his playing experience, playing under a coach like Pep Guardiola, bringing it into the fore, who's also managed Bayern Munich before. So, Vincent Kompany, for me, first season, he's done well. I think he was going to continue. I'll be shocked if he's been relieved of his duties with Bayern Munich.
It would be insane to see Bayern Munich let Vincent Kompany go at this point. Yes, maybe they have not reached that height, but when you go from the top managers to come to maybe you want to start building with a younger manager like Vincent Kompany, then if he wins you the league in the first season, then I think you should actually allow him to continue. And in the football things, in the football side of things, apart from even managing player egos and all, Bayern Munich, they've been very good on the football where this season they were always susceptible to quick transition. That has lessened, and the way they press is even different than the way they used to press under Thomas Tuchel last season before he joined. So I think for Bayern Munich, even players that have improved, the likes of Leon Goretzka have gone on to improve, been called back to the national team. Joshua Kimmich is also doing well in midfield. So
Musiala has had a fantastic season before.
Yeah, 15 goals in 30 games, and he's been injured for so long, and that's in Bundesliga and Champions League. So it shows you that players have even improved individually. And Mikel Olise that they got from Crystal Palace is also doing well. So I think personally managing the players and the football action has been balanced, and nobody will criticize you if you lose to Bayern Munich, if you lose to Inter Milan 4-3 in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. So it's always one of those things. Real Madrid have won 15 Champions League. They're out of the Champions League. Nobody's going to come for their neck and say, okay, maybe they're not Real Madrid again. So if you can take them to the quarterfinal and lose in that slim fashion, then I think that he has it all good for himself. So they should still keep him. You don't want to keep steering the ship. So you have to work with him for now and see what comes after this season.
Okay, seeing what comes after this season and talking about changing shape, I mean, Bayern have surprisingly been one of those big teams that have changed a lot of managers in recent time, from Flick, who left them because of personal reasons or reasons best known to him.
I think Germany signed him off.
Yes, right. And then he left to join the German national team, although he didn't stay long there. And then we had Nagelsmann, Tuchel, and now down to him. So yes, a lot of managers. But talking about Bayern going on to win the league, very soon we're going to say congratulations to Harry Kane on officially and finally, finally, he had tried with the national team, got to the finals of the Euros, semi-finals of the World Cup. I don't know, got to the finals of the Champions League with Tottenham. He has come close so far, so well, and he is finally going to win a trophy. And I think that's why a lot of people believe that he moved to the Bundesliga when he made that move from Tottenham. But that is not the point. The point is somebody is officially going to leave a title-winning team in the Premier League. Now, Jamie Vardy announced this week that he is going to leave Leicester City at the end of this season, the 2024-2025 season. Now, with that, it means that he is the final member of the 2015-2016 Premier League winning team of Leicester City. So an era has come to an end, which brings me to that question. Jamie Vardy, fantastic footballer, fantastic legend for Leicester. Is a Leicester City legend. Nobody's going to argue that with you. Now, the question now is, of course, is called a Premier League legend. I'm not going to argue all of that. Now, the question now is, who have had a better Premier League career? Is it Harry Kane or Jamie Vardy? Or who is better in terms of being a better striker, Jamie Vardy or Harry Kane? And now, I'm going to officially just stay by the side. I'm not going to referee anything that the guys are going to say right now. And I mean, they have been boiling before the show, so I'm going to let them out of the bag. So I want all the fire right now. So guys, let me start from Timothy, because Timothy felt offended that the question was even asked initially when I was talking about it before we came on air. Timothy, Jamie Vardy, Harry Kane, who is the better striker? Who is a better Premier League legend, or who is more of a Premier League legend than the other?
Of course, if you win the Golden Boot, which that's the only thing Harry Kane has, and you win the Premier League with a team that were almost relegated this season before they won the title, then you're a legend. Harry Kane does not have a league to show for himself to say he's a legend of even the Premier League. Not to talk of saying he's a better legend than Jamie Vardy. So I don't think that.
So because he doesn't have a Premier League, you throw away all his individual accolades. I think we are being unfair to Harry Kane. And I've seen this a lot. You know, that he doesn't win trophies, this and that, and stuff. But over the years, what he's done, I think we are being unfair to Harry Kane.
What defines a Premier League legend? All the players from the past. Okay. Why do you call them a Premier League legend?
It's not just trophies alone. Longevity is there, you know, for how the records you've broken for the club you've played for. So you can't say because Jamie Vardy has won the Premier League.
Why does
we've had so many shit players who've won titles. So would you say they are better than players?
I was going to say that. We have players that
so many like Emmanuel said. I agree with you. We have had so many shit players that have not won something, but it does not mean we call them legends. Why do you call Tuve a Premier League legend? Why do you call David Silva a Premier League legend?
So are you saying Harry Kane is not a Premier League legend?
He is not.
He's the second all-time top scorer of this league. He has won the Golden Boot 3 times.
Harry Kane has
Harry Kane has done his bits in 3 different seasons, winning the Golden Boot. His teammates let him down.
No. Don't say
Jamie Vardy in the season
Why do you feel that it was not Harry Kane that let his teammates down?
Because he has done it 3 times.
You can't even say that. You can't even throw that question. It's even wrong.
City won the league.
Why do you feel
Leicester City won the league?
Okay.
Jamie Vardy wasn't the top scorer. In 2019-2020, that was when he was top scorer.
And this is a Kane who's done it 3 times.
Kane has done it 3 times.
You started with that
Jamie
Vardy has won the Premier League top scorer.
In the season Leicester won the league, who would you pick as the person that we watch games? We say that okay, this is the person that wins this game for you.
They had a spine. They had a spine that season.
Arsenal against Real Madrid, the first leg, everybody came out all guns blazing, saying Declan Rice won you. If you score 2 free kicks in the game, Declan Rice won you the game against Real Madrid.
Who won
Leicester City the league in that season?
There was Riyad Mahrez.
Who won Leicester
City? There was Morgan. There was Michael.
Harry Kane.
They had a spine.
Oh, see. This we specializing on trophies.
Okay, so
it's not fair on some players.
Are you saying Harry Kane is a better Premier League legend than Jamie Vardy is?
I would prefer. I want to have Harry Kane's career to Jamie Vardy's career if you ask me.
Okay, so you don't like winning titles, man.
I want no. Like I don't like
winning titles. You don't like to win titles.
When we are discussing individual players, I think we should focus on their individual performance.
Okay, let's take it performance.
Okay, Joy, let me ask you. Would you take the Premier League medal than a World Cup Golden Boot?
No, don't bring
I'm just saying. So I'm just saying, which would you prefer, a Premier League medal or a World Cup Golden Boot?
Well, in that scenario,
I'm just trying to bring
putting the two of them, I don't think if you ask 20 years from now,
won the Golden Boot in 2022.
Wait.
Ask him if he wanted to win that World Cup.
Wait. Not the World Cup. Wait. I think I'm going to put Vardy and Harry Kane there. I'm saying in 20 years from now, when we all have kids, we are talking about, and they are talking about Premier League from back in the days. Nobody is going to remember that Harry Kane won 3. I'm not saying they will not remember. You have to be mad football head to remember that Harry Kane won 3 Premier League
And that was-
golden boots. But
Jamie
you remember
Vardy,
that Jamie
for me.
Vardy brought Leicester
that's
City
a moment.
Okay,
yes,
they will remember
and
the
that's what I'm
journey.
saying. I
Let
think
me ask-
I think
let
I'll
me ask-
stick.
let
I
me
think
ask
I'll
Felix
stick
this
with
question.
Okay.
with the
Felix,
moments for
look
me.
at far back as, let me come from maybe 2010. Every player you have called a Premier League legend, bring them together. Which of these players has not won a Premier
The
League
legendary
title?
status didn't start from 2010. You can't say we should
That's
look
what-
back from
okay,
2010.
Come from the
Harry
back.
Kane has
come
been
from-
doing it
Yeah,
over,
Emmanuel,
over and
come
over
from
again.
when the Premier League started. Which of the players have you called a legend? The likes of Tony Adams, the likes of Patrick Vieira, the likes of
They
Steven
were
Gerrard, the
fortunate
likes
to
of
be in teams that won the league. Let me give you another example.
Harry
They
Kane
were
was Harry Kane.
He had it. He could not sell himself. He wanted to leave for Manchester City. They could not meet
wait.
it.
Wait,
So
let's
it's not like, what was he
wait.
supposed to do?
Emmanuel,
Is he actually a
wait,
Premier League
wait,
legend?
Yes.
Is
wait.
Sergio Aguero a Premier League legend?
I was going to
When
go-
did
Wait.
Man City? When did Manchester City? When did Manchester City pick themselves on the rise?
Gone
No,
down.
you were not going to be
I'm going to release you guys again, but I
That's
want
why I had
to
to bring him from that
I
question.
want to ask Emmanuel this question. So, see that, yeah, I don't want to bring the whole Yaya to rating. I want to bring Harry Kane, and last season that Leicester won the league. Remember that Tottenham bottled the league that particular season.
Thank you
with
very
Harry
much.
Kane. That
Tottenham bottled the league, not Harry Kane.
It's not Harry Kane.
Harry Kane
Harry
was
Kane-
top scorer that season.
Harry Kane was
If you
top
said
scorer.
Tottenham
He
got to the
outscored
league,
Jamie
then I
Vardy
can say
that
Leicester City
season.
won the
As-
title, not Jamie Vardy.
I'm saying
No.
that certain
Ora,
players
like
dragged dragged their teams to championship.
Yes.
How could Harry Kane not do it and Jamie Vardy did it?
Okay.
That's
But Kane
so
has-
defend him with that.
Ken has been Spurs when he was at Spurs. I mean, what more can he do? Like he did everything he can. This was a Spurs side that was close to winning the title. They sacked
They are always
the
close.
manager.
One
This
person
before
has
the
to
final.
be
So the same thing
as
came-
phenomenal as he has
you put
been.
that down
Why
on Harry
has he
Kane?
not been able to
So
drag
the same
them?
thing he was doing at Spurs is what he has done for Bayern, and they're about to win the league because
Vardy
other
won
people did their job.
was there
Bayern
last
win the
season.
league every time.
Every time it's a
Bayern
Bayern.
win the league
Ah,
every
okay,
season.
let me
Now
go
that he
back.
wants to win it now, you say Bayern wins
No,
the
I'm
league
not
every
saying-
time.
Let me go back
You
to
can-
Aguero.
so-
Well, first
Let
of
me
all,
go back to
we're
Aguero.
talking about the Premier League. Let's stick with
Okay.
talking about the Premier
Okay.
League. I asked you a question you have not answered.
Okay.
Go back as far as you can. Like go to the 90s, go to the 80s, as far back as you can. Which player do you call a Premier League legend that you do not have a title connected to it for me? Felix, I'm
Do
asking
you know one?
Emmanuel,
Do you
I'm
know one
asking
of the first
No,
players?
don't answer.
My question would answer your question.
Okay.
Do you know one of the first players that was inducted into the Hall of Fame in the Premier League? Steven Gerrard. He has 0 Premier League titles. 2021, he was inducted into in the first set of players that were inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame.
Okay.
That's because they recognize his individual performance in the Premier League. Sorry, Emmanuel, before you say what you wanted to say. Aguero has 5 Premier League titles.
So why is he a Premier League legend?
In those 5 Premier League titles, he was only top scorer in 1.
That's the point.
His
It's not about-
teammates,
that's the
KDB,
point.
David Silva, Vincent
Felix,
Company,
you are putting my point now.
No, I'm saying
Harry
sometimes you
Kane
do your job.
can win 3 golden boots, but he does not have a trophy.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not
His
a le-
teammates let him down.
Trophies alone
His
doesn't
teammates
make
let
you
him
Is
legend.
down.
Kevin De Bruyne a Premier League legend?
Obviously, yes. One of the greatest midfielders to play in the Premier League.
So, if you are talking about Kevin De Bruyne, in the seasons or every season that Manchester City won the league, won't you put in the input of Kevin De Bruyne in every of those seasons, even when they went to win the treble?
Obviously, you put. What I'm saying is,
You put it
Harry
down,
Kane has
definitely.
done more than what some people who have a league title to their name. have
Exactly.
done.
He's done more.
Yeah,
Darwin
I'm
Núñez will
not
be a
downplaying-
Premier League
I'm not
champion
downplaying
by the end of
players
this
who
season.
won trophies
I'm not
and-
downplaying.
Szoboszlai will be a Premier League
Same
No,
Vardy.
that
Same
is
Jamie
not the
Vardy
point.
relegated
That is-
twice with Leicester City.
That is not the point.
And he brought them back.
That is not the point.
He brought them back.
So that's what I'm
Emmanuel,
saying.
this is it.
here.
This is what
the
we are
point is
saying.
that
This is what we are saying,
when
okay.
you are contending against Jamie Vardy, there is no way you would say someone is a better Premier League legend than a person who has won a Premier League title and who has also won a golden boot in which you can pride that this is what makes me a Premier
All
League
right,
legend.
Timothy. Let me. You asked the question, and let me ask you: what was Harry Kane supposed to do in the 2015-2016 season?
He was supposed to run for
Chelsea.
After
That scored
scoring,
his first goal. I remember that one. That scored his first goal in over a long period of time and drop points against Chelsea.
Thank
Why
you,
would you
Joy.
drop points against Chelsea?
Harry Kane
If
did
Chelsea
not
had
drop
finished-
points.
No,
Thank you,
if
Joy.
Chelsea
Spurs drop points.
Yes, he's not part of the team. He's not part of the
He
team.
outscored Jamie Vardy that season.
He has scored Jamie Vardy that season.
Yes.
Why can't he win the Premier League?
Because one single player cannot win the Premier League. If it was possible, Steven Gerrard would win the Premier League by his singular effort.
Harry Kane is a better Premier League legend, if you ask me.
On what
based on
reasons?
what he's done
On
over
what
the
reasons?
years. Harry Kane,
What has he done?
What has Harry Kane done?
Emmanuel.
Everybody remember Jamie Vardy.
But I would remember Harry Kane more. This guy
Emmanuel.
would always, and he still got a chance, to come back to the Premier League. So maybe Alan Shearer in that top scorer.
Alan Shearer, when did
remember
Alan Shearer
forever.
stop playing football? Why is it that till today, Alan Shearer is into punditry? Many people even know him based on, apart from his punditry side, many people still talk about
Because
what
he's
he
a
does.
Premier League top scorer. That's what people, majorly, that's what people know him for.
You asked what
If I
why
ask
Harry
you
Kane is
trophies of
what
Alan
he
Shearer
is or why
at the
he's
top of
better.
your head, you can't
The
remember. You
most
remember him for that record.
goals for a single club is Harry Kane. Second all-time top scorer in the Premier League, Harry Kane. Joint best goal-to-game ratio alongside Thierry Henry.
Most area goal.
Okay, let me shock
But it's Harry
you.
Kane in a
Let me
single
shock
season
you.
as well.
Emmanuel,
This guy has so many
Emmanuel and
individual-
friends. How many players do you know make their debut? Which striker in the Premier League or which legend in the Premier League has made his debut at age 27 and gone on to score
So that's Harry
140
Kane
plus
for
goals?
that. Jamie Vardy is a late bloomer.
I am not saying he's a is it Jamie Vardy's fault that Harry Kane did not win the Premier League?
It's nobody's fault.
So why are you saying
I'm not saying it does not nullify the fact that Kane is a better player and a better or bigger in Premier
We're not
League.
talking about player.
Obviously,
Yeah,
Kane
we're
is
not
a
talking.
better
Yeah, of
all-round
course,
player.
Kane is a better
But
player.
he's
But in
more of a
terms of
legend in the
legendary
Premier
status, in
That
terms
I
of
would go
legendary
Harry Kane,
status,
if you ask me.
Emmanuel, if you're explaining to a 15-year-old in the next, maybe let's say someone is 5 in the next 10 years, if you're explaining to a 15-year-old at that time that why would you pick Harry Kane over Jamie Vardy, Emmanuel, tell me those things in which you would say.
I will list all the individual records that he's done.
Let me listen
that he's
to them.
achieved in
Let me
Premier
hear
League.
them.
There are a lot.
Okay,
He just
Emmanuel.
mentioned
3 times
a
Golden Boot
lot.
winner.
Okay.
The highest goal scored by a single player in a
All-time top
particular
scorer for
team.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
This argument would not end here.
Over 5 or 6,
so
7
that-
player of the month
so-
awards in the Premier League in his so many individual accolades that Harry Kane has got.
I think
over
Jamie Vardy
Vardy.
scored
A lot I
11
can
goals.
mention.
Jamie Vardy broke a
you
Wood
want to
Van
go-
Nistelrooy. Jamie Vardy broke a Wood Van Nistelrooy record that was on for years. He scored in 11 consecutive games in the Premier League.
So,
Let's keep
if you want to
going.
go one for one,
Let's keep
one for one,
going.
Kane has more individual records than Jamie Vardy.
Okay, guns,
He has
please.
more.
Guns down.
No, credit to
Guns
Jamie
down,
Vardy.
guns down.
One of my issues with Jamie Vardy was that our Nigerian boys didn't make it in his all-time Leicester City 11.
So that's
You know,
that's where you're
No, I'm just saying that it's not the
Agenda.
it's not the source of my beef, but
No.
I mean, you played with
no.
you played with the senior man Kells.
Kells.
You had them in one of your.
Listen up,
I
I'm not trying to compare the people he players he picked in his midfield position. There was no Ndidi in his all-time Leicester City. I mean, he had Kante and he had Tielemans amongst his midfield and Drinkwater. No Wilfred Ndidi. I'm not trying to compare players and all, but I mean, Wilfred Ndidi maybe should have been there. But it's Jamie Vardy's choice.
Okay.
It's his Leicester City
A
all-time 11.
patriotic Emmanuel.
He has to pick those title-winning players.
I understand. We understand. Oyewa. MMS. Or how do we say it? MMS. Yes. Oyolo. Let's move away from that and talk about the fact that you've seen the whole fire and see how much. Individual players.
Will return to England.
I was actually going to say that.
And win.
But I think he
where
should
is he
come
going
back.
to return to?
Jamie Vardy is going into
Where will
oblivion.
Emmanuel, where will Kane return to?
Okay, let's go
Okay.
into that topic. Seeing that teams like Chelsea and United are teams that are now called past glory, former glory, because of it's been a while that they've known to have won the Premier League and of course win cup titles in England. Who are the players you think can join these sides next season that will elevate them from being relegation struggling teams like Man United, and Chelsea is always struggling to make European spots, to actually being title contenders? And when I mean title contenders, if Harry Kane is to return to the Premier League, which of these sides do you think he should join? I'm not saying he's going to join. I'm just saying which of the sides do you think he should join that will elevate them from being a struggling team with players like Højlund, Zexi, Jackson to become a title? Because I don't think any team that has Harry Kane would not be called a title contending team. So which of these players, apart from Harry Kane, which I just mentioned, which is just a
Why
gamble?
would they be a title contender?
First of all, both teams cannot be title contenders in this season.
And that's
Man
why
United have a very stubborn manager that is.
Then bringing someone that does not know how to win the Premier League. It means that you're not ready to even win the. Yes, now that's the point.
Harry Kane,
Yes.
Harry Kane
He doesn't
got
have to
the
win.
Harry Kane
most
is about
goals
to win
in
the
London
Bundesliga.
derbies. Over 51 goals in London derbies. Go and
So
ask
you
Arsenal
think that-
fans.
you think
He's a
that-
big game player.
Okay,
So
you
he's
think
going to
you-
succeed
wait,
at
you
Manchester
think
United
that
if
he
he comes.
joins any
Yeah,
team
he's going
that
to
wants
succeed
to
at Manchester
win,
United, but they will not win the Premier League. That's the point. The point
how
is
will
you
he
want to win.
succeed? What will make him succeed?
Yeah, because it's individual. Is only what he does as an individual player
So
that
you
you
think
would
that
count on.
Man
But
United will
whatever-
still go on to finish second
Mourinho,
best or
Spurs.
something.
Why did they sack Jose before the final? All this talk would have been, at least he's won something. It's just sad that.
He would have
Yeah,
won, he
you
would
said
have
those
not won
stats.
that final, even if Mourinho was in
Mourinho.
that final.
Okay.
Pep Guardiola would have won that final.
He played too much.
I didn't mean, even though I didn't mean I know you now. Okay, let's
I
hear
don't
from
think
you.
Man United. First off, I don't think both Man United and Chelsea would be
And then you don't want
contenders
to bring
next season.
someone that
And
don't
it's
want the
down
Premier
to their
League.
coaches. Chelsea have a manager that has a mindset of, I want to start competing in the next 3 years. Man United has a manager, or they have a manager that wants to compete now, but is too stubborn to realize that he does not have the players.
So even if they
to play.
bring Messi or
They
Ronaldo,
can be better.
their
They
prime,
can be better next season, and
Okay.
I think they have similar positions where they are weak in defense. Probably goalkeeping positions. The two teams, Sanchez and Onana, need to be fitted out of those two teams. They need to get out. They need to replace them. They need to get centre backs in. Man United will lose Johnny Evans. They will lose Lindelof. Maguire has shown that he's injury prone nowadays. They need a centre back in Man United. Something Chelsea also need, a right-sided centre back. Fofana has been injured for a bit, and Tosin does not look like he's the capable partner for Leverkusen. So that's another problem. Attack,
Even the Kobe said himself.
striker.
needs to be replaced.
The two teams have the extremes of striker. They have in Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea have the striker that positions well, finds himself in good places, but he's profligate. He's very wasteful. In Man United, they have the striker that is not wasteful, that would convert if he gets chances, but he will not get himself into places where the chances will fall to him. So they need to replace both of
should the
them.
clubs join together? Let's do a Sharks and
United.
Dolphins.
No. I think I
Maybe
pretty
we'll
much
solve their position.
I agree
their
with Felix. Both
situations.
teams needs a goalkeeper, no doubt, because Sanchez is not looking
Chelsea-
like
Chelsea
it's not
needs-
looking like Chelsea kept
now
But how
that's
many
what
lots
I'm
of the
saying. We are
goalkeepers they
now
have.
Was it not
building.
last
That's what
season?
I'm saying. Now we are building. Everybody's speaking. You are saying
But
we are
was
saying
it not
strikers.
last
You are
season we were
saying defense
counting the number of
goalkeepers.
goalkeepers that
Chelsea
Chelsea have
signed.
from
That's
the under 21
maybe
team?
they let
11.
go of the better ones and
They have
kept
about
the-
11 goalkeepers and they still need
The
goalkeepers.
thing about Chelsea is they don't have a goalkeeper who is fit to play in the Premier League yet, and that's the truth. Or
to be their number one.
Yeah,
in
a
the Premier League.
goalkeeper fit to be their number one. That's the point. It's not about having so many goalkeepers, but they don't have that goalkeeper in which you say this is the person that can win us games. This is the person that can make saves that will win us 5 to 6, 7 games in the season or when we are in the running. So I think that's their issue. But where I would now have an issue is recommending goalkeepers for them, because I'm looking at goalkeepers. Do you want to bring in
the
a
market for a goalkeeper.
What did you say? Yeah, the market for goalkeeper is not
Chelsea can get Ramsdale.
someone that's relegated twice.
I think Kepa still have
Twice.
unfinished
This is about to
business
be-
with Chelsea.
He's won 3 times. Sheffield, Bournemouth, and now
Southampton.
three
So
times. But if I was going to ask everybody here, for Chelsea, what one position do you think is the most critical that they must address next season?
I think it's the goalkeeping situation.
Yeah,
But see,
goalkeeping and centre forward. I wouldn't want to maybe goalkeeping a little more important than the centre forward
So
department.
you think if Chelsea had the better goalkeeper this season,
yeah,
they'll
we have seen how
probably
many
be
games.
better
Sanchez
now?
goals where Sanchez needed
has
to-
he has
needed to
made.
come
I know
back.
you guys
most of
cannot act.
errors.
I know.
He has made the most of errors this season, so you want to expect that they would improve if they
Have
are
you
season.
seen
if you
Jackson's
ask me,
misses?
yeah,
And yes,
Jackson's
no,
misses.
you said which
Which
one
one
should,
is
would have
more
prioritized.
critical?
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So I would
goalkeeping.
choose the goalkeeping situation. Jackson has still scored goals. I know, yeah, they need to improve on that, but still, we've seen what Sanchez
So
has done. this
Sanchez
season.
he has outdone Onana in goalkeeping errors this season. He's
Just
a
that.
legend, though. He's a legend.
So for me, I know they did not ask me, but just because I think for Chelsea, if I'm going to pick, I think if I have to pick one, I think it's the centre forward position,
agree with you.
because when you look at the number of created chances in the Premier League, Cole Palmer is highest. Now, what happens to those converting those chances in terms of Nicholas Jackson and the balloon boy? That's
Nkunku.
Nkunku. Those guys have wasted those chances. And imagine if he had people who could convert those chances. Getting on. And I don't know. These are some of the names. I know these are some of the names. Obviously, these are some of the names that I know would be going around in the transfer markets during that's the summer.
You have a Rolls Royce midfield already, $1 million midfield settled already.
Enzo, Cancelo, and of course you can get a Palmer who can do the creating. So before we start spending $1 million, all of that is the weekend. I'm sure it's the Owambe weekend. You're going to go for parties. You're going to go to spend money and all of that. But let's take it easy on the jollof rice and the amala. And we'll see you again in our next edition. So yes, before we leave on this channel, remember the most important thing for you to do for me, which is to subscribe if you've not, for you to also follow us on all our social media platforms that are displayed on your screen. And next week we are going to come back and drag somebody, hopefully, or not. And so thanks so much for joining. My name is Euphoria and I did it alongside the guys who all are obviously looking so good in their suits.
I mean, we try.
Someone reached out to me on behalf of Felix and said, thank you, Euphoria, for what you're doing and making sure that Felix wears suits now. Like, you're all are welcome. If you're watching this episode, you all are welcome. So thank you so much for being on this episode with us. See you next time. Stay jiggy, stay cheesed up. Bye.
Hi, I'd like to ask you how long you've been supporting Ipswich FC?
I've been supporting Ipswich FC for about a decade. I've been aware of them for much longer than that.
Great. And tell us about the prospect of being relegated back to the Championship just after you've been promoted.
Well, of course, no one likes that. No one wants that. I was actually hoping we would finish 17. That was my bet. That said, I think we've put a good account of ourselves out there. I am confident we stand a chance of being able to return in a season to 3 seasons from now. I think we have the right fundamentals in place to come back stronger. I think the most striking part of the season was when we played Arsenal at the Emirates in December. We made a good account of ourselves at the Emirates, and I couldn't be more proud of my local club.
How has it been supporting Ipswich FC and for how long?
So we've supported them all our lives, and it's been we've been supporting them 19 years. It's probably been 1 good year and 2 good years, 17 years of wanting to absolutely kill ourselves.
Firstly, that was our shit. We beat Arsenal in 2011. That was the highlight of my supporting Ipswich. And
we
then
beat Tottenham this year. We beat Tottenham and we beat Chelsea.
So basically, until about 3 years ago, it was shit.
Yeah.
Still quite shit now, but slightly less shit. Yeah. So it's all right at the moment. Don't want to kill myself as much as I did 5 years ago.
All right, what does it feel like at the prospect of being relegated to the Championship? Tell me about it.
We're really excited. We can't wait.
Yeah,
we hate the Premier League.
Fuck the white cunts and faggots and that.
Whoa. We can't wait. We really like Wrexham away, so we're going to go to Wrexham away next year.
Swansea away, 12:30.
Cardiff away, Plymouth away. So we're really excited. Really excited. We ain't got to play woke teams anymore.
Yeah, there's too woke for us this league. Too woke.
I'd like to know how long you've been supporting Ipswich FC.
Yeah, that's a long time, since 1976.
What was the most striking moment this season for you? Was it a player? Was it a match? Tell us about the most striking period for you this season.
Yeah, it was probably Leon Delap. What he did the first part of the season was like the most positive surprise.
Hi, what does it feel like winning to this match?
Yeah, fantastic. Obviously, Champions League is the main thing, but this is always a good feeling to win away. Delay Liverpool winning the league by a week at least as well, and getting the job done.
And you gave Ipswich FC an Easter gift. How does it feel like?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they keep them in the league for another week at least,
And finally, I'd like to know what was the most striking part of this season. Was it a moment? Was it a player? What is the match? Tell us what was most striking about the season.
Has to be the Real Madrid game. Every other year, Arsenal would crumble in the Champions League, or they wouldn't get anywhere, or they would fall apart in a big game. Whereas here, complete opposite happened, just smashed it, yeah. And we're in the semi-final for God knows how long.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fan, I'm an Arsenal fan.
Interesting. All right, great. Tell us about today's match. What was your expectation and what was the reality?
Expectation, didn't know what to make of it after midweek, but more than happy with the result. It's just a shame certain players got injured, etc. So, win some, you lose some.
Great. In terms of the season, tell us what was the most striking part of the season. Was it a player? Was it a moment? Tell us about what was the most striking in the season.
I don't think it's come yet. I think it's on its way.
All right, thank you very much.